You're listening to Don Carpenter on News Talk 1270 KIML. Call Don right now, 682-1270.
News Talk 1270 KIML. Don Carpenter Show. Welcome back to the program. So yesterday we talked a little bit about this proposal by the ATF to ban some common ammunition normally used by people with AR-15 style rifles. They can also be used in other rifles that shoot the same caliber ammunition. But this is one of the more common versions of the ammo. And I'm not really an expert on AR-15s or on the dirty tactics of the ATF. So I figured I'd go out and try to find someone who knows a little bit more about this than I do. And we have a special guest on the phone right now. We have Bob Owens. He's the editor of bearingarms.com. And good morning, Bob.
Good morning. How are you doing today, Don?
Oh, I'm pleased to have you here, and thank you for agreeing to call in at such short notice. I know I looked you up yesterday afternoon, and I saw you were talking to the guys at NRA Radio, so I figured, well, if you're good enough to talk to them, you're more than good enough to talk to me. So thank you so much for taking a few minutes to talk to us this morning. First off, why don't we talk a little bit about your background so everybody knows who you are and why you know more about this than I do.
Okay. My name is Bob Owens. I am a volunteer rifle instructor with Project Appleseed, which is a marksmanship and history initiative that's in all 50 states. And that's why I can put bullets on target where they need to be. I have been a writer for PJ Media and for NRA's Shooting Illustrated as a gun writer, and then I've been the editor of bearingarms.com for more than a year and a half, pushing 2 years now. And I'm a graduate of the Gunsight Academy in Paulden, Arizona, which is Jeff Cooper's shooting school, the Harvard of handguns, as some people call it. And I have been active in shooting since the 1980s.
So, and I will say, Bearing Arms has become one of my favorite sites to go to for Second Amendment related stuff. You really do a great job there. So tell us I'm just glad I could pick your brain a little bit about this morning. So tell us a little bit about this proposal that the ATF has pretty much sprung on us with almost no notice.
Okay. What they're attempting to do is reclassify M855 bullets as armor-piercing. And it is typically known among shooters, AR-15 shooters, as a green tip, because the military used to paint the tips of the bullet green to differentiate it from other kind of bullets. That way they just got a visual reference point for, hey, what is this? It's a green tip. Okay. So what they're attempting to do is they are claiming that because there's a steel insert in the front of the bullet, they're trying to reclassify it as armor-piercing. The problem is, for the ATF, is it doesn't meet the legal definition, nor does it meet the spirit of the law that they're trying to use. It has always been an exemption for the M855 because it's a rifle round, and they're attempting to reclassify it as a pistol bullet because there are some new AR-15 pistols on the market, and it goes against the specific intent of the people who authored this bill in 1986. There was the Law Enforcement Officers Protection Act of 1986 that was authored by a number of folks in the House and Senate side. And Daniel Patrick Moynihan of New York was the senator. He is a Democrat, and he said this is not to be construed as a ban on any sort of rifle ammunition, which this clearly was. This was designed for the M16 and AR-15 line of rifles. This is an intermediate rifle caliber bullet. And the ATF is attempting to reclassify a rifle bullet as a pistol bullet in order to ban it outright for both rifles and pistols.
Well, now, and again, I'm kind of a newbie when it comes to ballistics, but and the reason that this round can penetrate soft armor is because of the velocity. It's a rifle round, so it's a higher velocity. It's not a product of the design of the round itself, right?
That is absolutely correct. Any decent center fire rifle cartridge, any bullet, no matter what it's made of, attains enough velocity to punch through the soft armor typically worn by a police officer. And we're talking level 2A, level 2, and level 3A body armor, which is designed to stop pistol bullets up to .44 caliber. It does not even slow down most rifle rounds very good. It'll hit it and get it and keep it right on going. The most interesting thing about the ATF's argument is they're saying, well, we need to ban this bullet because it's a threat to police, because it'll punch through their body armor. There's two parts to that statement. One, it's never happened. There is not a single documented case of an AR-15 pistol using .855 bullets being shot through a police officer's vest. I can find no evidence that this has ever happened. So they're attempting to push a law based on a hypothetical. The second part of this is if we actually look at the wound ballistics for different AR-15 bullets, the .855 shot out of a handgun linked barrel, something in the 7.5-inch range, which is a popular AR-15 pistol caliber, it doesn't attain enough velocity to do a great deal of damage once it goes through the vest. It'll poke through the vest, but once it does, it's more of an ice pick type wound. It doesn't mushroom, it doesn't yaw and tumble, it doesn't fragment. It just punches a hole straight on through. If the ATF is successful, shooters will be left with the M193 round and purpose-built varmint rounds for shooting stuff like groundhogs that are designed to fragment and expand. And so what the ATF is actually doing is making it more dangerous for police officers, as absurd as that may be.
Well, now, and this just seems like to be a pattern that the ATF engages in, and this is just if it, I'll put on my tinfoil hat for a second. To me, it seems like this is the most common round, right?
It is.
Okay, so because
it's about even right now between the .855 and the older M193 round, which is what we use from the Vietnam era up, and that's the standard 55 grain bullet.
Right. So, but a lot of it's available via surplus. It's inexpensive. It seems like this is another attempt to just shorten the supply and make life miserable for people that fire these rifles.
That is exactly what it is. It is my opinion that this was done out of spite when Obama could not get the quote-unquote assault rifle ban he wanted after the massacre at Sandy Hook. He was very clear back in the early days of his administration, as they were smuggling guns to the Sinaloa cartel in Mexico via Operation Fast and Furious, that they wanted to ban semi-automatic rifles because that's what they were smuggling to the cartels. That's what they were trying to claim. They were trying to claim what we call the 90% lie, that 90% of guns in Mexico come from the U.S., which is a lie that Obama, Attorney General Eric Holder, and then Secretary of State Hillary Clinton were all pushing, that kind of blew up in their face once Fast and Furious was discovered, and the ATF revealed that something less than 20% of the guns in Mexico come from the U.S., even after the administration was pushing guns through the cartels. So these folks will do anything and everything in an attempt to disarm the American public, and they apparently have no scruples or morals whatsoever.
Well, and this comes just maybe a week and a half after Eric Holder giving that interview where he says his greatest failure was not being able to enact more gun control measures, and this just seems to be sort of a parting gift.
Absolutely. the bad thing about the ATF is there's absolutely no accountability. The Fast and Furious, there's over 300 people who have been killed so far with those firearms, including law enforcement officers on both sides of the border, and the ATF hasn't even fired anybody, much less gone after criminal charges for those involved. So, we're talking about a very corrupt organization working for a very spiteful president, and this ban is nothing more or less than revenge for Obama not getting the law he wanted. If he can't outlaw the gun, he's going to try to outlaw the ammunition.
Well, and I know we've already seen shortages in other calibers for various reasons. I mean, this would just be another pain. I mean, another problem that you'd have to go through. You might have the rifle, but if you don't have any ammo for it, it's not going to be worth much of anything.
That is absolutely true.
Yeah. So what can we do about this?
Well, there's several things you can do. The ATF has a comment period open where they're asking for public comment on this. But I would actually ask readers to forget that option, because that is basically begging the ATF for permission to do something that you should be allowed to do. And I would instead ask listeners to call their congressmen and call their senators and ask them to write a simple one-line amendment which would take this out of the ATF's hands. The definition, as it's written right now, is that armor piercing means a projectile or projectile core which may be used in a handgun. All that they need to do to disarm the ATF is to change that definition to a projectile or projectile core designed for use in a handgun. That way, any rifle ammunition, such as the M855 for the .223 or the .30-06 caliber M2 cartridge, which they can try to ban down the road, or anything else that they want to go after, is removed from their power.
Well, if you think about it, just about every rifle round has someone making a handgun for it, all the way up to the, I mean, I've seen, 4570s. I've seen all kinds of crazy handguns. So eventually,
absolutely,
if they get this one, they could get pretty much every bit of rifle ammo.
They could. And so the best way to handle this is not to beg the ATF for permission, but to get your congressmen and senators to write a simple one-line amendment and put this on each and every bill that crosses Obama's desk. And use this one line. It's a 7-word change. You're striking 4 and adding 3 to make sure that they can only ban armor-piercing bullets designed for handguns, which was the original intent of the law that they're perverting. You do that, and the ATF is toothless.
Okay, so now have you heard anything from any elected officials? I mean, I know here in Wyoming, our 2 senators and our congresswoman are staunchly Second Amendment supporters. But I mean, have you heard anything from around the country?
I have not yet attempted to contact any legislators. I do know that the National Shooting Sports Foundation, which is the gun industry group, all the anti-gunners always say it's the NRA. The NSSF is the actual industry group. They've come out strongly against this. So has the NRA. So there's going to be tremendous pushback against this.
As well, there should be. Okay, we're almost out of time here, and I don't want to keep you too long. I'm sure you're probably going to have a lot of these interviews today, but I just want to make sure everybody, if they're interested in visiting your website and getting a hold of you online, how can they do that?
The best thing to do is go to bearingarms.com, and that's BEARINGARMS.com.
Okay, and of course, you can look him up on Twitter as well. That's where I found him, Bob_Owens on Twitter. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That was very educational. I had a small bit of the information, but I didn't really know it was that deep with the ATF. I really appreciate you giving us that education this morning.
Absolutely, anytime.
Okay, well, next time a Second Amendment thing comes up, we'll be sure to get a hold of you.
I'll be here for you.
Hey, thanks a lot.
Absolutely.
Okay, there you go. Bob Owens, the editor of bearingarms.com. Look up the website. It really is great Second Amendment stuff, and I appreciate him taking a few minutes to talk with us this morning. Right now, though, we do need to take a break, so we'll be right back. News Talk 1270, KIML.
The #1 talk show in Northeast Wyoming. Don Carpenter on News Talk 1270 KIML.